Greetings and welcome to the channel. Well, today we're at St Juliot Church, and the reason I come here today is because Thomas Hardy, the writer and poet, when he was a young man, he was an architect, and he came here in 1870 to supervise the restoration of the tower that we see before me. And whilst he was here, he stayed at the old rectory with the vicar. And the vicar had his sister-in-law staying with him at that time, and Thomas Hardy went on to marry her. It was his first wife. He didn't have a especially good relationship with her, from what I understand. They had no children, and he could be quite mean to her, I think, in latter life. But when she died, he was full of remorse and wrote some beautiful poetry about them, and came back here, and I understand put a plaque somewhere here shortly after her death. I think it was in 1912 from what I read earlier. So we've come here today while the light still lasts to see what we can about this. Well, let's see if we can get inside. Actually, I've just said that. Let's have a better look at the tower from the other side, and then we'll see if we can get inside, because the light's fading a bit. Quite an interesting monument there, just before the gate. Another peek at the tower. Might be open, looking quite hopeful. Can we get in? It says open. It's very dark. I'm hoping the camera will settle down and I'll be able to see. Can I put any lights on? Well, it's so dark in here, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to film. I might be able to brighten it up a bit. I can't find where to put any lights on, so we'll just make the best of a bad job, I guess. Just seem to be filming blackness other than the windows at the moment. Still, it may have an interesting effect. From my vantage point, it's quite interesting to see how much the windows shine out of the darkness. Let's get in the pulpit and address the imaginary congregation. Of course, this is where the vicar, whose sister-in-law Thomas Hardy married, would have stood. And perhaps he prayed for the restoration of the tower and gave thanks for it. It's quite a small place. Now before me, in the blackness, is a monument. I know Thomas Hardy returned here and put a monument. Maybe this is it. I don't know whether he put the monument here or whether someone else afterwards. But I'm standing before it and I shall take a photograph. I'm sure I'll be able to brighten it up. I've actually been to Max Gate in Dorchester, where Hardy used to live. I think He built his own house, or his father did. One of the two. I think his father was a builder. And I recall them saying that Hardy, I think, might have lived there with who became his second wife. And his first wife, while she wasn't very well, lived basically a prisoner in the room upstairs, from what I can recall. I think she was pretty much a prisoner there of her own volition. It must have been a strange atmosphere. I'm also very interested in Lawrence of Arabia, T. Lawrence, and he used to visit Maxgate, and he used to communicate a lot with Hardy's second wife. They got on very well and corresponded quite a bit, but I think he was quite an admirer of Hardy, who was an old man by then, I think. I wonder if anything out of this blackness will actually show up to make a video worthy of YouTube. Having been groping around in the dark for quite some time, as you'll probably gather, I came across this light, which will stay on for approximately 5 minutes, it says. So I'm now able to capture a bit more of this than I initially thought I would be able to. So we'll grab the opportunity to see what we may. Certainly a little bit lighter now. Still fairly gloomy. I might have to keep rushing back to take a picture of it. It says the light stays on for 5 minutes, but I don't believe it. I reckon 2 minutes. So I shall go this way again, get into the pulpit, as the Reverend did, and give a panoramic, looking towards the light, and warning of the darkness. The darkness of sins, maybe, who knows. Now I have a bit of light, I can see that this is the Hardy memorial window. And there's something here that gives details of it. But the light will probably go out in a moment again. So I'll just show a photograph of it, and you can read it at your leisure without having to worry about lights going on and off. Apparently Hardy's last visit to St Juliot Church was in September 1916. He came to inspect the stone memorial which had been designed for his late wife. You can see it on the north wall. Beside it is another plaque which records his link with the church, as does the wonderful engraved glass window by Simon Whistler in 2003. Raising funds for the upkeep and improvement in St Juliot is an ongoing task. It is aided greatly by the generosity of the Thomas Hardy Society and the annual influx of Hardy pilgrims, by the loyal support of the Friends of St Juliot, and by the many who come just to savour the peace of this holy place. Well, even with the light on, I'm struggling to see artefacts. Right, well, I think that's probably as much as I'm going to be able to record today. So thank you for joining me on this journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. I'm not going to exit via the font, just having a closer look before I leave. So we leave the way Thomas Hardy entered and left. Go on our merry way. church looks nice in the darkness. See you in the next one. Bye for now.